How's it going, guys? This is RaiderKnight. And for today's video, what I wanted to do was show you a lot of the scenarios I've been working on in my free time, starting out with the Revolutionary War scenario, aka 1776. So, obviously, you start as the USA if you want to, or you can start as England, aka the United Kingdom, or Castile, or France, or any of the big world powers. I even added the Aztecs. I'm not sure if this is it's not really historically accurate. The Aztecs should have been wiped out way before this, but I wanted to add them in, just for a little cameo. Plus, Castile is really overpowered, so I needed anything to slow them down. So if Montezuma will slow them down, I'll take it. It works. But I did add a lot in this scenario to do. Obviously, you can play as the USA and, manifest your destiny. You can play as England, maybe go for that good old African colony type stuff. Or you can play as the Ottomans and invade Europe. Or I guess you could also be the African colony empire. But there's a lot of stuff you can do in this scenario. You can even play as Ming, China, and kind of, rebuild your empire, because I added I didn't want them to be overpowered, so I tried to make them kind of weak. And then you have the Russians, who, they have a lot of land, but they're going to have to colonize quick, or when I played this as a test run, these countries like to sail all the way over here and colonize, which it's not really that good. I don't like that, but I don't want Russia to be overpowered also, so I'm not sure. Maybe I should give Russia all this land, but I kind of don't want to, because then they're going to be overpowered. But from a lot of the test runs I've done in this game, Castile and the Ottomans are the big empires. They're really hard to beat, especially Castile. Once they take South America, game over. You've been game ended. But yeah, I really like this scenario. If you guys think it's cool, tell me. Also, if you guys know how I can send this scenario, tell me in the comments below. I'm not really sure how to send them, if we even can at all. Maybe you have to wait for the Steam Workshop to come out so we could share the files. I'm not sure. But I think this is a good one. Maybe a little bit more touch-ups to the HRE to make it a little bit more accurate. And maybe, yeah, the tectonic order also. They're not really that accurate either, but a little bit of touching up with the borders in Europe, and I think it would be a pretty good scenario. So, for another scenario that I've worked on was the American Civil War scenario, but I extended it to include the entire world. So, obviously, you have the United States under Abraham Lincoln and the Confederacy under Jefferson. So, well, Jefferson Davis, not Jefferson, the other Jefferson, but yeah. You got Europe also, a lot of different things you can be. You could be the Ottomans and swarm Africa. You could be France. You can be Castile again. You can really be anybody, but in this one, Castile is a lot less OP. I gave a lot of these countries, I gave them some land, and I gave them all independent nations. So Castile is not overpowered. I know all this is inaccurate. I might have to fix this. A lot of the borders are incorrect also, so some fixes will need to happen for some of these scenarios. I was lazy. That's end of story. I was just lazy. I'll fix it all later. That's what I was telling myself. Then we have the World War I scenario. This one came out pretty good. A lot of the borders, for the most part, are already pretty accurate. So I think a little bit of touch-ups, especially in Africa, where I kind of butchered it. It's not at all good in Africa. But I think apart from Africa, this scenario is doing pretty good. Very playable. I've played this one, and the German Empire, it's really fun to play as. I went through the Netherlands and Belgium, and I invaded France. So a lot of fun with this one. Sadly, the base game doesn't come with World War I, so that's why I made this scenario. Next up, we have a scenario a lot of you guys wanted me to make. The Man in the High Castle scenario. Obviously, Germany is, like, way overpowered. Honestly, there's probably no way anybody can beat Germany. Germany has 36 million people, compared to the second strongest country, Japan, with only 24 million people. Like, that's a 10 million gap. There's no way that Germany can lose. But if you want a challenge, I think this would be a really good scenario. Again, if anybody knows how I can share these scenarios, if it's even possible, tell me in the comments. I'll definitely share the files somehow. I don't know. Just tell me if it's even possible. But this is a really cool scenario. I haven't played it yet, but I think it would definitely be a challenge. So next up we have the Cold War scenario with everybody's favorite leader, Vladimir Putin. You know, the person who led the Soviets wasn't Stalin, it was Vladimir Putin, as we all know. And Theresa May, you know, that's who was leading the United Kingdom during the Cold War. But enough of that. All jokes aside, here is the scenario. Some of the borders are inaccurate, again, in Africa. I'm really lazy when it comes to Africa, as you can probably tell. You just have a massive Ugandan empire. I didn't even add Ethiopia and Somalia. Or Kenya, what the heck? I didn't even add Kenya or... I didn't add a lot of countries, alright. But yeah, I have to fix this one. I kind of threw it together just because I really wanted to play it quickly. I played it as the Soviets, aka Putin, because that's who led them during the Cold War, as we all know. But yeah, a fun scenario. I think this one's really good. Sadly, the Cold War is not in the base game either, so that's why I had to make it. So, somebody asked me to make this scenario, the 1984 book scenario, written by George Orwell, as we all know. This book is a pretty good one if you haven't read it. It takes place in London over here, which is Oceania's capital. And essentially, Oceania is a communist country, which I made them fascist in this one just because, I mean, Eurasia and East Asia are supposed to be communist also, so I wanted there to be some rivalry started up, so I did change Oceania to fascist. Sorry if it's not perfect, but I really like this scenario. This is actually my favorite out of all of them. It's actually very well balanced. Oceania has 24 million people, and Eurasia has 25 million people. And East Asia has, well, 10 million people, but they don't really matter too much. I'm sorry, East Asia. Even India has 5 million. India's not that weak, to be completely honest. But I really like this scenario. It's one of my favorites that I've made so far. This one came out really good. I actually really like this one, like I said. And I want to play this one probably as Oceania, because that's the nation in the book. So I might do this for a video. Stay tuned. Yeah. Voice crack. Oh my god. We just talked about this. Voice crack gang. I can't get away from it. If you guys are new to the channel, we've had an okay, that's stuttering. Now we're called Stutter Gang. Jesus Christ. We've had an my god. Epidemic lately. Jesus Christ. I cannot talk today at all. We had an okay, I'm done talking. You guys get the point. I quit. I retire. Sub to PewDiePie. I'll see you in the next one. JK, there's still more. Tricked you. Ha. Next up, we have the Call of Duty scenario with Call of Duty Ghost. The Federation versus the United States. A pretty basic scenario. I think it's a little bit unfair. The Federation has 10 million people, while the United States only has 4 million people, so it's more of a challenge scenario, but a very hard one to beat, in my opinion. Haven't played it yet. I might do it eventually. Probably not. But Donald Trump, I just have to say, obviously they just jumped right over your wall, because it's kind of non-existent right now. But yeah, aside from all the jokes, let's move on to the next scenario. Next up, we have the Fallout scenario. Caesar's Legion right here. We have New Vegas, the NCR, the She. We have the Midwest Brotherhood of Steel. We have the Brotherhood of Steel and the Capital Wasteland Brotherhood of Steel. The Minutemen and the Enclave. The Enclave are the strongest. Next up, you have the Capital Brotherhood of Steel and the NCR. Obviously, I think it's a pretty even fight between these two, and I tried to make it kinda even between Caesar's Legion and the NCR, but it just really didn't work out too well. Maybe I should expand Caesar's Legion into Mexico a little bit, but kinda wanted to keep it lore friendly for the most part. I guess this isn't really that lore friendly, all this, but they were kinda weak, so I had to help them out a little bit. But aside from all that, here's the scenario. This one came out pretty good, but it is missing a few of the smaller nations. Maybe when map editor gets big, I might fix it and add a lot of the smaller countries. And last but not least, we have the YouTuber war scenario. I'm in this one with the RaiderKnight Rebellion as my country. You have the Puppy Bark Empire from Rukwai Online. You have Comrade Kelly, who was one of the first people in the Age of Civilizations community, and I wanted to add him in for this scenario. You have Nion's Kingdom, you have the Low Gangsters, the Jake Paulers, you have Drew, and you have Ashton, and you have ISP. Drew's kind of weak in California, but since the Jake Paulers and the Low Gangsters are also in California, I decided to give Drew a little bit of land over here in Korea. I don't know, for the memes, I don't know. He made a video today with Age of Civilizations 2, so I thought that was pretty cool. Go check it out. I'm pretty sure ISP is about to make one also, so if not, go annoy him, I guess. I don't know. I don't annoy him, but you guys get the point. You have T-Series also battling PewDiePie, which I think is just a nice little touch. PewDiePie doesn't have as many people in it. I'm gonna have to make it a little bit more powerful, so it's above T-Series. I don't know. Jacksepticeye, obviously, he is a little bit too powerful of a country. You have Dolan Dark and Grande battling for the Mediterranean, and you have a couple random countries in here like Little Dog Gaming's Empire and KSI Deji, who also have some land over here in Britain, and you have the Donkey Dragon Kingdom. So a lot of fun stuff with this scenario. I just kind of messed around with it. You even have over here Dr. Boom and the FAPA 16 gang. So a lot of different YouTubers in this scenario, and a lot of different, I don't know, yeah, just YouTubers essentially. There's nothing else unless you count T-Series, which is just a company. But yeah, had fun with this one, and I'll see you all in the next one. This is the final scenario. But I had a lot of fun making them. If you guys have any more suggestions, tell me below. And yeah, peace.